but it could be.
Sure.
Someday.
As far as everyone knows.
If everything goes well,
All
and we
right.
stay out of prison.
First of all, good morning, everybody, especially on Facebook. Good morning. I know the story. The story of Trevor the Roach. I'll be telling that in a minute. But
Trevor the Roach. Let's go to the cam.
Trevor forget. Good
Mountain
morning,
Cam.
Mountain Cam. It's brought to you, of course, by Black Diamond Experts. Experts in electric, plumbing, heating, and air. And coming up today, this is so cool. Crossing the double white line is going to cost you. It's going to cost you
How
a
much?
lot.
A guy gets married and throws himself in a river.
That seems really flattering, I
Right,
guess.
right.
And once again, the tragic tale of Trevor the Roach. Trevor forget.
All right. Let's talk about this fine that's going on.
Well,
on I-50 and I-80, anywhere there's is it an HOV lane line thing?
I am so screwed. You know this is going to be me. This is totally going to be me.
I'm not going to bail you out.
It's a crackdown. They're trying to nab drivers who violate the express lane on I-15.
And they jump in?
Because the thing is, you wait for a long time to get, and then you got that, and then you can finally whip in there, but by then there's like 1,000 other people, or you see the big traffic jam and you're thinking, I'll just whip in there now because I got kids in the back. It's not like I'm cheating, but you cross
It's cheating.
the double line. Unfortunately, they say that there's been a lot of crashes because of that. They say people don't think it's a big deal, but actually I guess the collision rate exponentially rises.
How are they going to solve this problem?
They are going to charge you $337, which is the maximum allowed by law.
How'd they come up with 337?
Maximum allowed by law.
Why'd they set it that? Why did they
Maximum allowed by law.
round it off?
Okay, you know our legislature, right?
340.
Are you really questioning this? It's $337, okay? So in any case, they catch you crossing the double white line, it's going to cost you.
300.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
That's a car payment. So
Do they still have those passes that you can buy?
yes.
And how much are they? And I think they always run out though.
Only reason I don't like those is they also monitor your speed with those.
This is how you get a pass to go when you're a single person in your car
You pay
into
for
the
it.
fast lane.
Yeah,
you
you
pay
pay.
for it.
Yeah.
Then
But
that says
usually
$2. You can go $2 and you can get to Payson for $2.
None of it has anything to do with the fact that you still can't cross the double white line.
$337.
$337.
I got to tell you, I started doing some reading.
Okay. Are
Because
you talking about Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico. You know,
Yeah.
we've been talking a lot about the shipping, and they just eliminated a rule so that the other ships can come in if they're from different countries.
Finally, thank you.
So they got rid of that. And then I started thinking about this, and they're talking about how hard it is to get the stuff in, supplies in, because it's an island, when we have a fleet of, I understand there's an aircraft carrier on its way, or is probably there by now.
Yeah, there is now, and I think there's 11 tankers now from all
stacked
over,
up. They're all stacked up.
including Europe and everywhere else. Yeah.
So what I did is I wanted to figure out how this works. And Puerto Rico is 100 miles long and 35 miles across, which is great.
It's pretty small. I didn't realize how small it was.
I know. It's like Connecticut. And so the other deal is the fact that it's got several ports. Now, not all of them are big enough, you know. And so I started checking it out and seeing, you know, so if you get it to the shore, it's only 35 miles across. So if you can get it
Even with the roadways
staged,
damaged, your
Right.
chances are still excellent, and you can still do drops.
Well,
if you had to.
I'm just talking about ports.
Yeah.
With these big freighters and stuff, and then airplanes. They
Yeah.
have 3 major airports.
That was my next question. What about airports?
And
Where
then
do
they
you
have
fly in?
smaller ones, and then there's military bases that have been closed, and so they have all these different places. So
And they're running out of water, and they're like, we're going to try to start getting you stuff at the 1st of October, and it's like, that we're going to be dead then.
they're.
and this is a U.S., this is us, this is part of us, and it was incredibly slow.
Even if it was somebody else,
Well,
you jump in, and I understand
Without
the NFL.
question,
The
but-
NFL question is really big, but there are people going to die without their medication. Just
It
a little
seems-
heads up. So
seems more
anyway,
important.
so it looks like things are starting to change,
Mm-hmm.
and they seem like they've gotten a flow. There was kind of a lapse there, but it seems like now they've started to make some headway. And remember, only 5% of the country has electricity.
Well, it's ironic that a lot of times the way you get more attention on something is through celebrity. And there's a couple of stories we'll tell you about Puerto Rico later. Jennifer Lopez donated $1 million. She's from Puerto Rico. And she donated $1 million to the relief effort and went, why isn't anyone paying attention to
Right.
Puerto Rico?
Right.
And so once the celebrities started getting on kind of on the bandwagon, it started rolling and it's been a little better. But it's sad that it had to get to the point of a pop singer telling you that we should pay attention to
Right.
something serious.
Right.
I don't know.
And I was just, I don't know if I'm a nerd, but I just got really interested on
The feasibility of how and what.
how the country was laid out and stuff. And I realized Connecticut, 100 miles long, 35 across.
It's really not
We
bad.
should be able to do better.
LDS missionaries all came, traditionally they sent LDS missionaries from other states and such into disaster areas to help. But in this particular case, I guess things are so
Pulled them out.
damaged that they pulled them all out. So we got 23 of the missionaries here in Utah. They're welcomed by their new mission presidents at the airport. The other 155 missionaries have been reassigned to missions around the United States.
And they'll go back in when things get stabilized.
Probably not. This is probably their
It's gonna
their
be
position
so hard.
now.
And don't forget that they were in financial ruin before this happened.
So they're going to need a lot of help. It's interesting. This is only the second time in the past 5 years that the LDS Church actually evacuated an entire mission. Usually
Really?
they keep them in there and they say hunker down because you're going to be volunteering to help afterwards. But
Right.
they took out 204 missionaries from the Philippines because of Typhoon Haiyan. So because that was the same kind of like decimating everything in its path kind of situation.
But they'll just, what do you do? I mean, the size of this thing. But anyway, well, donate to the Red Cross. That's what you do.
Yeah, Red
It's
Cross.
It's simplest. It's easy, and
Not any other self-serving groups that are having you filter the money through them so that
KSL.
they're special.
And actually packing cans and stuff into a truck.
Doesn't
it's
do anything.
much better if you donate to, because then a case of peanut butter gets there, not a jar of peanut butter, and then it doesn't take people to sort it once you get there. And
not only that, for the amount of money you would spend on a jar of peanut butter here, they have connections that can make it a case of peanut butter
so
there.
people were actually loading from Utah, loading a semis, to take them down to Texas, and
Everybody's heart is in a great place.
It
but
is.
They do everything is done differently now, and they found faster and more efficient ways to put these kind of areas back together.
here's a great analogy: the food bank right here in Salt Lake City. People have food drives in their office and stuff, and that's important because you're giving awareness and you're bringing that to the forefront, and other than the holidays, and it's really good. But your donation of cash, you donate $1, they can make that into $7 because they are buying
Of all the
qualities,
connections, yeah.
and they have
Matching grants.
and manufacturers who say, you know what, we're going to put this aside for you. So that's cool. So that effort of doing it yourself is great, but $1 is worth $7 at the food bank. So anyway,
Moving on to something that I find very perplexing now.
I'm taking
Once
it.
we get to the U.S. Supreme Court, this is like the big cheeses. This has got to be all the groundbreaking,
Taking it to
landmark
the
era
Supreme
things,
Court.
like Roe versus Wade and the Love case, where
Schmidt versus
African Americans were allowed to marry.
Bunkleville. You know, the famous case in 1969.
And then here in Utah, we are proud to
Excuse
present
me.
to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Supreme Court. And they finally got to argue this point. Groundhogs, prairie dogs. Prairie dogs.
That's the groundbreaking social experiment. that we brought.
Residents of southern Utah have asked the Supreme Court on
Look at
Tuesday
that face.
to hear their case. That little bat
Look.
bugger.
Look at that face. How could you be mad at that face?
Oh, wait, he's on my private land. Guess what I can't build? My house.
So explain what happened. It was something to do with
Okay, so
restrictions because they're endangered.
The group of people, it's the People of Ethical Treatment of Property Owners,
Oh, funny.
has gotten together, and the prairie dogs, they bought some property and they were going to build, but the prairie dogs moved in first. There is a protection order against the prairie dogs that was established, and they can do whatever they want, and evidently even on private land, BLM land was okay, but you wouldn't build your house there. And so they have taken it to the Supreme Court to say, listen, this is private property. I bought the property. The prairie dogs moved in, and now you're telling me I can't build a house. You can't build playgrounds either. They were going to do that. They were
That seems sort of erratic for a generalized lawmaking thing.
you know what we need? We need a wall.
Which one isn't the prairie dogs?
Well, it has to be about this tall, but we need a wall because I don't think I don't think they jump. I don't think they jump. And I want a wall you can see through. That way you can see them on the other side, like
You can
chicken
taunt
wire.
them.
Like except no, gopher wire, prairie wire, and then you can see through. But remember, it only has to be about this tall because they can't jump over. Why don't people ask me? I can solve problems. You can get a roll of chicken wire for like $6. You just don't take me seriously, do you? I'm sorry. I love animals
Okay.
and the way they taste. But prairie dogs, you gotta gotta make some decisions on that. And
It still cracks me up, though, that of all the groundbreaking cases that have gone to the U.S. Supreme Court,
this one,
will be known for prairie dogs here in
well,
Utah.
that's American action right there.
Okay.
That's what that is.
You know, life can be really tragic sometimes. And
It is.
It's kind of heartbreaking. There's a Salt Lake City guy. I love him now. He's on Twitter. He's known as Grifter. Grifter. He was up at a computer security conference in Louisville, and he'd gone to Smash Burger first, and
did you just see that?
and he'd been eating his hamburger, and he was
Right.
sucking on his milkshake, and something got caught. And he's like, "Oh, maybe it's a strawberry." And he sucked really
Wasn't
hard.
that thing we just showed you?
And if you'd like to show it again, it was a roach.
Cockroach.
It was a cockroach. Now this is how badass this guy is. Unfazed, he took a picture of the roach and
There it
then
is.
tweeted it out to the other conference goers with a name for the insect.
Right.
Trevor the roach. He says,
Why Trevor?
"Watch out, DerbyCon. This is the roach I sucked up the straw of my milkshake from Smash Burger. I'm gonna name him Trevor." And so the
Trevor?
hashtag was created. Trevor forget.
Oh no.
Instead of never forget, it's Trevor forget. So they all start tweeting this, and then it
Right.
starts going viral. And then on Twitter, it showed up on the trending hashtags, and people are like, "Trevor forget." I saw it, and I knew it was Salt Lake City, so I went to Grifter to take a look at it, and I was dying. So I asked permission if we could show the photos, and he went, "Of course, Trevor would want you to share his story. May he rest in peace. Trevor T. Roach, 2017 to 2017. Trevor forget."
Look at the sign. Did Smash Burger ever come out with
Well,
anything?
here's the funny part. He actually wrote a couple of tweets later. He says, "By the way, if you're wondering if I'm ever going to eat at Smash Burger again, of course I am. Their burgers are delicious." I'm like, "But you had a roach in your..."
That's funny. So he wasn't asking for money.
Trevor forget.
It was just a memorial for Trevor.
Just to remember Trevor.
That's
He
awesome.
would want you to know his story.
That's so funny.
I know, right?
Time for information.
Okay.
Right?
Fine.
Pull yourself together. It was a roach. It was in his mouth.
Trevor forget. All right. I'm just dying now. I'm
All
sorry. Daisy is in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom, and of course, she's brought to you by Fink and McGregor. Mortgages made simple. You know, you can get a mortgage with a credit score as low as 600. Go to fink-mcgregor.com, and also by All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air. This is the perfect season to get them in and turn some things off and some things on. It's allutahplumbing.com. Daisy, my darling, what is going on today?
Hello everyone, here's what's making headlines Friday, September 29th on GephartDaily.com. A home invasion in Kuna, Idaho led to an officer-involved shooting and a home burning with at least one person inside late Wednesday night. One of the people burned in the house fire was flown to the Salt Lake City Burn Center. A woman called 911 saying a person was trying to get into their home, and deputies arrived to find a man with a long gun coming out of the home. Deputies told the man several times to put the gun down, but he refused. A short time later, deputies fired at the man. Approximately 15 minutes after that, the home was on fire. Two of the adults inside were able to get out. The third, an elderly woman, was not. Salt Lake City police are looking for a suspect who robbed a car wash wearing a clown mask. The robbery occurred at the Mr. Car Wash at 1480 South 300 West at 8:40 p.m. Wednesday. An employee was confronted by a man with a handgun. The suspect took money from the victim and fled the area. The suspect's described as a Caucasian male, 40 to 60 years of age, wearing a clown mask, black hoodie, blue jeans, and black gloves. Anyone with information is asked to call the Salt Lake City Police Department. The Utah Department of Transportation is advising drivers to plan ahead for two major road closures on Salt Lake County freeways this weekend. SR 201 in West Valley City will close Friday night, and the ramp from westbound I-80 to the I-215 East Belt will close in Parley's Canyon from Friday night through Monday morning. SR 201 will close in both directions between Redwood Road and Bagda Highway as early as 9 p.m. Friday. During the closure, crews will demolish a temporary bridge on I-215 that was built so lanes could remain open during construction. For the latest information on traffic conditions, visit the U.Traffic website. And now to the Wasatch Front weather. We will continue to see gorgeous fall temperatures in the low 70s heading into the weekend. Sunday then drops to the low 60s with partly cloudy skies. That's it for now. For more local headlines 24/7, go to GephartDaily.com. Todd and Erin, back to you.
Thank you, Daisy. You know what this is, the time of year, besides to smell like pumpkin spice? It is a transitional time, and that's why All Utah Plumbing can be there for you. Because, you know, it's like air conditioning over to heat. You know, you turn that heat on for the first time. You have that smell of not pumpkin spice, but of dust burning, which is okay. And then it's a time to turn off your hoses and turn off your outside bibs and all this stuff. And that is why All Utah Plumbing can be there to help you out, because there is so much they can do for you if you have a transition. Did you know, I learned this, that if you use the small little thin furnace filters, you're supposed to change those out every 30 days. What? John and his crew, they're the ones who know all this. They can help you out. You know, if it's something simple, they can do that. If it's a remodel, you want to get something done before Thanksgiving, now is the time. AllUtahPlumbing.com, and give them a call. You're going to love these guys, by the way. All right, so tell me about this. Tell me something good.
Now, this story amazes me.
It has to do with Nazis.
Well, this story starts out as like a recipe for utter disaster. I mean, it's like you really put this one together. This is Michael Kent. He's a 38-year-old father of two, and he belonged to a very violent white supremacist group in Arizona. He got sent...
he belonged to.
Yes, he belonged to.
Used to.
Yes.
Okay.
He was sent to prison for some of his various actions with said white supremacist group.
Okay.
And he got two prison tattoos,
Right.
not swastikas, that signified his affiliation.
Allegiance, yeah.
So when he got out of jail, he received Carol Whittier, as his probation officer. Mm-hmm. Carol is a 45-year-old black woman living in Colorado Springs.
Oh.
So right now you're thinking, this is not going well. And she said, I'm not going to judge you. And their first meeting, she goes, I'm not going to judge you on your past.
Right.
She says, I want you to eventually not judge me on my skin color. But
Right.
I'm going to start by not judging you. Well, here's the interesting thing. After a while, their time together blossomed into a friendship. And she actually started to have some influence on him and taught him more about taking care of his children, taught him more about finding jobs and some of the things that he could do. And after a while, he took down the neo-Nazi banners at his house, and then he said, well, it looks kind of bare now. So she brought all these smiley face posters over and like tacked them up where all the neo-Nazi banners used to be. So you know already this woman's awesome. She goes, if you wake up with a smile, you're going to go to work with a smile, Kent. And he's like, yeah, okay. But this is the thing that's really, really cool. In less than a year of having this friendship and having this probation officer relationship, he decided to renounce the white supremacist lifestyle, and he got his tattoos taken off. It's really cool. It was a 15-hour procedure. It was pretty brutal.
Did they cover him?
But this is the thing. It's an organization called Redemption Tattoo.
Oh.
And they cover up like white supremacists and gang tattoos and those kind of
like
tattoos.
A unicorn. They just go right over it.
They can go over them, or they can strip them. They can get them to fade. But I love the fact, and they go completely on self-funded. You know, they have people donate. But I absolutely love that. So it gives people a second start, because when you see a tattoo like that, you're going to judge someone. I mean, you are.
Well, right.
So he works on a chicken farm
Plus,
now.
you get to see it all the time, and then your kids, for goodness sake.
Oh, that's the one that would scare me.
Yeah.
He works on a chicken farm now with 15 other employees, and he's fine with being the only white guy in the workplace. And he said his favorite party he attended that year, and I know I'm going to mispronounce it, is the coming out party of one of his coworkers' daughters, her quinceañeras.
Right, that's close enough.
And there's a picture of him standing there and with his coworker and his cute little daughter, and she's wearing the big gigantic gown.
Big gigantic gown.
And he's got no swastika tattoos.
And he's there. That is very good.
And all because of this woman who said, I am not going to judge you.
Just got to find the right person.
That's incredible.
All right, coming up, we're going to tell you.
Christopher's.
We're gonna tell you about that. But coming up, this lady is gonna burn in hell. But first of all, let's talk about steaks, because steaks are delicious. And why are we talking about steaks?
Now that is something you wanted roasted over flames, because especially when it's a Christopher's Prime Steakhouse.
We want to send you there, and this is our thank you
delicious.
to you for actually sticking with us
and
following us from our past life till now. And I know the stripper thing bothered some people, but I was good at it. So anyway, what we want to do is say thank you. And all you have to do to register for this is...
just go to one of our Facebook pages. If you're watching at this point in the show and you make a comment now, we'll know that you were watching when we talked about Christopher's, and you're automatically entered to win. It's really that embarrassingly simple. It's the Gephardt Daily or the Gephardt Approved or the Todd and Erin Facebook pages.
Do we have a winner?
As a matter of fact, our winner today is Carol F. Congratulations to Carol F. You and 3 friends are going to Christopher's. And I'll be contacting you today to let you know how to get that all set up.
All right, coming up, we've got the lady who's going to burn in...
Oh, yeah, she's so
yeah,
good, too.
she's going to burn. That's next.
Yeah.
Todd and Erin's Morning Stream, brought to you by Black Diamond Experts. Electric, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. You'll be glad you called an expert. Fink and McGregor, mortgages made simple. Make sure you go to fink-mcgregor.com and try out their 4-minute mortgage program. It's incredibly easy to find out whether you qualify. The Todd and Erin morning stream is actually available anytime at GephardtDaily.com. Just click on the Todd and Erin page.
All right, so I guess I don't understand this story.
This is very exciting to me. Now, you know about the French law that has actually been in place for about 4 or 5 years, where they had a body mass ratio for Paris Fashion Week and for all of their models, saying you have to be within like this ratio, which is still close to starvation, but
It's like a bag of antlers.
but it's the closest to healthy ratio they could find for body mass.
Okay.
And so basically what they were saying is girls were literally starving themselves to be models.
Right.
And, but all of a sudden the average size was size 2 for a model. Then it was size 0. Then it was size 00. And
And the normal woman is what?
14.
14, size 14.
And the average height of a model is between 5'9" and 5'10". And you're like 100 pounds.
Right.
So I wished we had that law here because I thought it was magnificent that it was taken there where it's all about glamour.
That's in France.
So the newest implemented law from them is that they also now have to, magazines have to disclose, did you Photoshop this image of this model? Mm-hmm. Did you Photoshop it to make her look thinner? Because realistically,
It's just the image.
everybody knows that, and the thing that makes me sad though is I think young men get this completely unrealistic vision of who they should fall in love with because nobody looks like that. Not even the model looks like that. But they have this vision that this is what a pretty girl is supposed to look like.
It's like Barbie.
And and it's not
It's
like,
impossible to have that weight in those hips.
So it's interesting. So Getty Images, which is I think one of the 2 or 3 biggest photo sharing services in the world.
Okay.
So you know what? We're just going to go with this right now, and we're going to make this international. They said we are not going to accept photo submissions of photoshopped people to make them look thinner.
Right.
And it's interesting. I was actually trying to find you an image that was a before and after showing like a normal human being and then how they photoshopped them. I couldn't find any that were legal, so I thought, okay, I'll get a picture of a heavier woman who would look like the rest of us, maybe in a swimsuit, and then I'll Photoshop her to show you. And I couldn't find any of those. And I kept using different search designations. Apparently, you literally are not allowed to have a photograph of you in a swimsuit if you're heavier. I mean, that's literally at the point we're at now where you're not even allowed to be visible if you're heavy. I mean, that's literally that's what I felt because I was like, I cannot find a photo to even use.
I showed Erin the ones of me I wanted to use and she wouldn't let me.
Well, honey, the koi look was very sweet, but it wasn't the same. In any case, I thought it was cool.
That is cool.
And it's one of those strike backs against this unrealistic imagery that we're giving everybody of this is you're not pretty if you don't look like this. It's like they don't look like that.
I keep saying if you and I hear this every once in a while a little bit, but if you're a designer and you start designing clothes for real women that are cool looking,
we jump on you like
you'd
white
be
on
a
rice.
billionaire in like a week.
Seriously.
All right. Maria, the
Hurricane
hurricane,
Maria.
she did a huge amount of damage, and some of the things that came out of this were surprising.
But she left a few little things behind.
In this case, she
little
did.
mementos.
Carolina, North Carolina, there's a beach called Hatteras, and it is one of the stormiest.
Cape Hatteras.
I actually camped there when I was a kid and almost blew away.
I had a summer house there with my friends.
Did you? Well, there would have been something on the beach, and we like to call them, look at these, landmines.
Wow.
Now, in World War II,
Wow.
they used these, and you can see the hatch on the up left corner right there, and that's where they put in all the explosives. And the spikes are actually rods, and when a ship hits the rod, it pushes it in, detonating the incredible large amount of explosives. Well, this one that's washed up was a practice mine.
Except for that wasn't the only one, was it?
Yeah, there's another practice mine that showed up on another beach, which is kind of weird. What are the chances of that happening? But I mean, you didn't know they were practice, did you?
No, you certainly wouldn't
That
notice
would
until until you knocked on it. Because
No.
But this happens all the time. You've seen this where there's munitions or something, and people like tap on them or they tap them against.
Bring me
something.
a hammer
It's like why are
and
you
hold my beer.
Why are you doing that when you know it's an explosive?
4 feet in diameter.
Wow.
Go ahead, Bob. Hit it harder.
All right, now we were talking about people who are going to hell. I would like to introduce you to Belle Gibson. Now, on first glance, Belle actually looks like she's kind of a cute
Let me
girl.
see. Hi,
She looks
girl.
like a cute girl. She's got
Hi,
the
you.
eyebrows. She's got the hair. She's Australian.
What are you doing, you Aussie?
And
you Aussie.
she became a very powerful Australian
so?
role model because she shared her story, which was very emotional about having overcome 5 different kinds of cancer.
What?
5 different kinds of cancer. And when she talked about
How'd
it,
she do it?
she said, you know what, I don't want to use drugs. I want to do this with clean eating and I want to be healthy.
Right.
And so her will was unbreakable. I mean, she put all these chirpy photos up of herself and all of her, and running and healing and I'm overcoming cancer. And it was very inspiring. And so they did the whole pantry, which is something that they did with Apple. They even had an app on the Apple Watch where you could go and you could get clean
For
living
her- for her?
recipes and all these things. And she wrote a
Right.
great book about the whole.
Did she make
whole
money on
pantry.
this? What'd she do?
Oh, over $500,000 just on that small venture alone. And she said, you
Right.
know, I'm giving all of this to cancer treatment
Hey,
places.
may I say
It's
something?
a donation.
You're starting to get like that sarcastic tone in your voice.
Well,
And this is people who are going to burn in hell, so
as it turns out,
yeah.
not only did she not donate anything, oh, well, she did donate like $3,000. That's all that they could track.
Yeah.
So not only did she not donate any of her money, it turns out she never had cancer at all. Ever.
Oh.
So while this woman has been pimping out her cookbooks, actually some of the recipes are delicious, I have to admit. While this woman was pimping out her cookbooks, people were abandoning traditional cancer treatments that
To
would
do
save
this.
their life to eat healthy, clean. I mean, you should do that anyway, but you have to have chemotherapy too. So
If that's your case.
yeah, or whatever it is. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so they just barely sentenced her. She's been fined. She has to return all of the money, over $500,000. She's been fined, and she has. I think it's a very small jail time. I think it should have been larger, to be honest. But just the whole enormity, and Australians are furious because they all really dug into her. She was like this
She was like
national
the big
hero because
thing.
you
Yeah.
saved yourself. You know, you
She's like
fought.
the kind of person who'd be like on Oprah,
Kinda
right?
like- kinda
She'd be
like
like
Lance.
that level.
It was like a Lance Armstrong kind of thing till we found out. You know what I mean? And so,
Oh.
yeah.
All right.
So yeah, she doesn't have any of those things.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to play?
Yes, of course.
All right. Let's do. Oh, I'm gonna save that one. Okay, so you're getting married. You found the love of your life. You go. Okay, that's creepy.
Okay.
And you go and you have the ceremony and stuff. And right after the ceremony, I
You take the
didn't
pictures. Yeah.
realize that. So they.
You have a pretty scene, and,
Right,
and
they
the bride
trot
and the
off.
groom have a moment alone where they can be like giddy and have a pretty picture taken.
Right, right. Well, Brittany and Clayton, they got married and they did that, and they were by a park, and so they went off a little bit secluded with a photographer and leaned against a tree.
You
and,
have foliage.
and they did,
Foliage.
like that, and they did the heart thing, and they were really adorable. And then all of a sudden, without warning, Clayton jumped in the river.
Why?
The bride's like, "Where'd he go?"
Is he
The
attempting to
photographer's like, "What's going?" And all of a sudden, they see he dove in the river. He's swimming out. There's a little boy having a hard time keeping his head above water. Boom.
swim?
There he is.
Is this guy like a boss or what? So this
Jumped
little-
in tuxedo
He
and
saw
all.
him floundering.
Suit.
Knew he was going down.
Of course you would.
Oh, well, naturally you would, but like a boss. I mean, just the
Yeah.
elegance of like,
I
I'm
think-
gone, I'm in, I've got the boy.
And he's so cool, his carnation is still on. His boutonniere.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. But it's so funny because the bride was looking the other direction. Meanwhile, he's already in the water, and she's like, where's Clayton? Where? And then the photographer was there, and he saw that he was handling it, so he starts taking pictures.
That was very inspiring.
Whoops.
Wait, and he's got like bonus points like with the
That-
in-laws for the rest of his life.
that
It's
is-
like, you remember that time our son-in-law saved that little boy at the
Can
wedding?
you even imagine the honeymoon?
Yeah.
All right.
You would go that way, wouldn't you?
Have
We're
to.
talking about a beautiful life-saving moment, and
Right.
you have to go there.
Well, see, maybe I do just to compensate for what happened when I saved you from the bear, and then you just kind of went to sleep.
You're going to bring this up again?
And there I
the
was.
bear-repelling jazz
There I
hands?
was. I was like the Viking guy who saves the woman from the bear, and then you just say, "Oh, that's great," and then you fall asleep, and I'm all pepped up, and
He really did actually save me from a bear. We were
she
up in
really
our
did
cabin,
actually
and I
go
was-
to sleep
I had
right
a-
afterwards.
We were on the fold-out couch, and my foot was literally like this far from
Yeah.
the screen door.
Yeah.
And Todd started watching the screen poke in because it was the bear's face as he was coming through our screen
Mm-hmm.
door. And he leaped up, and I'm staring. I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Get out!" And he started doing what I can only recall as bear-repelling jazz hands.
yeah.
And so, no, but for like an hour, we ran from window to window
No,
because
you
he
did.
didn't leave.
No, you stayed in the bed.
No.
I walked around with my
No, 'cause we're waiting-
45, and waited and
I
stuff.
was
And
up
I
with
came
you.
in and you fell asleep. And here I was, your knight in shining armor. Let's move on. Coming up.
You're just never going to let that go, are you?
Never.
You realize that was 12 years ago.
Never.
12 years ago.
And that's why I said the honeymoon for this
12
guy.
years.
That's right. Might just go ahead and take a nap and I'll wait for another bear to come along. All right, so coming up next, the world is running out of stuff. And it is the weirdest stuff,
You would not expect that this would be a scarcity.
including
right?
dirt. It's all coming up.
We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. Elegant service, professional style. Go to executiveutah.com. And All Utah Plumbing. Your home deserves the best. 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com. Did you know you can catch the Todd and Erin morning stream any time of the day or night on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and GephardtDaily.com?
All right, so here's the stuff we're running out of. The world is running out of these following things. Sand. What? Well, first of all mining, 85% of the mining in the world is for aggregate. Aggregate is rocks and stuff that you build road beds on. Sand is in your toothpaste for whitening toothpaste. It's everywhere. And we're actually starting to run out of it. China actually used more in the last 4 years. It used more aggregate sand and rocks than the entire 20th century for America.
Wow, that's not scary at all.
Sand. Effective gonorrhea treatments. We don't need a picture on
No,
that.
remember the old days though when you could get a shot and you're taken care of?
No, tell us more about that shot you got.
You know I didn't get one, so don't even start. But what they were finding, there were certain STDs that people no longer took particularly seriously because they were fairly easy to treat. Gonorrhea has started mutating.
See?
And now they have a difficulty in being able to treat it with the traditional methods. And gonorrhea, apparently, when it's spread throughout your body, is a bad, bad thing.
I would imagine even the name is scary. Here's another thing, helium.
I've seen helium shortages all the time. Like when I try to go get birthday balloons, they go, we have a shortage. We won't get anything until Friday.
Mm-hmm. It's also used, if you ever had an MRI, you go into the room and there's also tanks that are, because of the magnetic deal, they're actually chained to the wall. It's helium. Because they use helium to cool down the superconducting magnets inside. And it's also a non-renewable. There's only a certain amount of helium in the world. And
I didn't know that.
And now they're starting to go, well, what are we going to do?
It's a non-renewable gas?
Yes.
I had no idea.
And did you know lethal injection drugs are short on supply?
That's probably a good thing because it means we're not using them, isn't it?
Depends how you look at it. Dirt. Scientists say they've 60 years of topsoil are gone.
Wow.
60 years worth.
Because they say farming in the same land with the same crop actually.
Just turns the dirt into nothing. It doesn't have anything in it anymore. No microbes and all that stuff.
Interesting.
All right. We're going to skip that one. Fish. Now we know more about this because we talked about the fisheries and the fact that they're closing down certain fisheries and putting really strict limits on them. Like one of the I think it's herring. It's herring in Alaska. The herring season is 21 minutes long. All the boats get in position. They have helicopters. They have planes spotting for them. They drop their nets. 21 minutes, and it has to be in the boat. And that's to protect.
Wow.
That's to protect. And if you ever watch Dangerous Catch, they have a limit of how many pounds they can catch before the season's out, and they have to fill that limit and no more. So that's going to obviously be a food problem. Data storage.
Isn't that interesting?
By 2020, the estimated 26 billion connected devices, not including roughly 7 billion smartphones, PCs, and tablets, and the current billions of silicone-based hard drives in the world are hardly keeping up as we speak. Let's see what I just did there. I talked about technology when I know so little. Nurses.
This one kills me. Explain
Well, it
this one.
shouldn't. The nurses will be there to save your life.
Ideally. Tell me what this is about.
Well, it's a factor of deficits. Actually, they're searching for nurses all the time, and to keep them up on keeping them employed. It's hard because nursing. I mean, they basically, if you've been in the hospital, I've been in the ICU. I saw a doctor once in 4 days, and the rest of the people taking care of me were nurses.
Well, here's the deal. From 2010 to 2030, the number of senior citizens in the U.S. alone will increase by 75%. 69 million people. And 1 out of every 2 older adults, anyone over the age of 50, has some kind of a chronic condition.
Right.
And they can't even begin to keep up with that. They're all the hospitals now, medical systems are bracing for this explosion because it's like elder care is going to be everything.
So if you're going to go to college, you want to get some training. What do you want to train in? Something that you will become indispensable.
Oh, I remember
Right.
nurses at the hospital. I'd be there and they'd be talking. I go, "Did you get poached from another state?" She goes, "Totally.
Yeah.
California doubled
Yeah.
my salary." I went, "Good for you."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're poaching everywhere. It's
So
interesting.
yeah. So I mean, French literature is a good major, but if you want to eat, perhaps nursing is the way. Do we have information
That's a
coming
good
up?
thought. Yes, as a matter of fact, Daisy is in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom. She is brought to you by Think and McGregor Mortgages Made Simple. If you go to think-mcgregor.com, you're going to find all kinds of different options you would not have expected. Also, it is brought to you by Black Diamond Experts, electric, plumbing, heating, and air. With everything going on this fall, this is a good time to make sure that your furnaces are working and your water outside is turned off. They would be your guys at blackdiamondexpert.com. Daisy, my dear, what is going on today?
Good morning, Todd and Erin. Hello again, everyone. Here's what's making national and world news Friday, September 29th on GephartDaily.com. The FBI is offering $5 million for information leading to the arrest of the head of a drug cartel in Mexico's Sinaloa state. Fausto Isidro Meza Flores, also known as El Chapo Isidro, was charged in a federal indictment on narcotics and firearm violations. The FBI believes he's living in Mexico and said he was considered to be the right-hand man of Alfredo Beltran Leyva, the leader of the organization bearing his name, prior to his arrest in 2008. The European Commission issued new guidelines on illegal hate speech and terrorism-related internet content on Thursday, demanding that online platforms get more aggressive in removing illegal content. The 20-page report calls on Microsoft, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to improve its detection capabilities. The report recommends that companies forge stronger relationships with trusted flaggers of content who are trained in the EU definition of hate speech and develop automatic detection technologies. And have you ever wanted a personal submarine for yourself and your 2 best friends? Well, it's becoming a real option thanks to Aston Martin. The luxury automaker has partnered with Triton Submarines to create a design for its first submarine. The concept design aims to lead to the development of a limited edition 3-person vessel. No word yet on what the cost on that would be. That's it for now. For more headlines from across the country and around the world, go to GephartDaily.com. Todd and Erin, back to you.
Thank you, Daisy. We appreciate it. Black Diamond Heating and Electric, Plumbing, Heating, and Air, they're the experts. And they just opened up a brand new shop in Ogden, by the way. So they're even closer to you up north should you need them. Because this really is the perfect time of year. This is when you want like outside water shut off. You want to make sure that your sprinklers are settled properly so that when you try to turn them on next spring, there's not a hideous explosion. You want to make sure that your furnace is running right, that it's highly efficient, that there's no cracks, that there's no carbon monoxide or other problems. And you could go with someone who's going to quote you $1 bazillion, and Black Diamond doesn't really do that because they're like, no, we can just fix this and here's a filter. You're okay. And whatever bid they do give you is what you're going to pay. They don't mess with you. They don't add on little extra bits. You can count on what you're spending, and that is it. So that's one of the reasons I really like them. And if you go to blackdiamondexpert.com, you can take a look at the services and maybe get an appointment. It is blackdiamondexpert.com.
This is a cool story, and it's the Mavericks, Dallas Mavericks. Mm-hmm. And Mark Cuban owns those. Mark Cuban is a billionaire. He owns the team.
I like him except for when he's sitting in down at what is it called now?
Courtside?
No, the big gigantic one where the Jazz play. I keep forgetting. Vivint Smart.
Delta Center.
I know.
I'm going old school on you.
That was the only time I hated him because he sat in front of us once and I just wanted to set fire to his hair. But every other time, this guy's actually pretty funny and interesting.
Actually, he is really. J.J. Arbria?
Berea.
Berea. He is native of Puerto Rico. Now, so what happened is, obviously, they got their butts kicked by the hurricane, and he's got family there.
I'm sure he's freaking out. Yeah.
He's freaking out. He didn't talk to him for like 5 days. And he's like freaking out. the team is about to start practice and stuff coming up, and Cuban says, "Why don't you take the team's plane?"
Take the jet. So they loaded up a bunch of stuff like supplies to take over to Puerto Rico.
And the deal
Then they're
is,
going to turn around and come back and do it again.
and the reason is, one of the reasons is, first of all, he wanted to do something. He wanted to have some impact, and I guess a lot of it was medical and stuff like that. His mom and his sister were there, and he scooped them up. And his dad stayed because his dad said, I've got to stay and help. I got to do this and get the ladies to safety and stuff like that. And if you can, send some other stuff down. So he gave him like satellite phones and all that kind of stuff. Take care of him.
That is adorable. But it really is cool, though. This is back to what we were talking about, that the government didn't seem to be as responsive until celebrities started going on after it. And then the regular public's like, yeah, why aren't you?
Right.
What's going on? Pitbull is funny. I really love his music, but he did pretty much the same thing. He did it without saying anything to anybody, but he sent over his private jet repeatedly, and he actually flew over a couple of times to help
Right.
with some of the rubble. But
Right.
that's adorable. It's not something you would expect from a pop star.
I just think it's funny that Mark Cuban would be like this. Here, take the jet.
I trust you, son.
Bring it back full, though. Okay.
It's true.
Yeah, that jet. Let's just take that, shall we?
All right, coming up
gosh.
next, no good deed goes unpunished. You try to rescue someone from a burning car.
Oh, don't
That's
tell him
fine.
the end. That's a spoiler. It's coming up next.
It's going to be bad.
We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. Elegant service, professional style. Go to executiveutah.com. And All Utah Plumbing. Your home deserves the best. 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com. Did you know you can catch the Todd and Erin morning stream any time of the day or night on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and GephardtDaily.com?
That's crazy.
It's
I
a
got to
cute
tell you
one.
a story. It's called, and it's a game. It's called What Happens Next. And you get to fill in the blank. There's a lady, and her first name is Tequila.
I
kid
like
you
her
not.
already.
So she should be a stripper because all strippers are named after liquor. Okay.
Brandy.
Brandy.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. She's from Idaho, and she was up in Washington State. And so anyway, she's driving along. They go and stop at this store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she turns around and she looks over, and there's a truck, and it's on fire.
That's bad.
What happens next? Wait, before you say that, she looks inside, and there's a kid in there,
Oh my God.
and
Okay.
the truck's on fire, and there's no adults. What happens next?
I would get the closest like fire extinguisher or hose or something. I would go over there, try to
Funny.
smash it, get him out.
Funny you should
and get,
bring
and
that
get this
up.
little guy out. Yeah.
Funny you should bring that up. There were other people trying to get to it and stuff, and the doors were starting to get too hot, and they couldn't get the doors open, and they were like, the fire. And then she looks over, and there's a little store right there, glass door.
She's thinking.
Goes
She's
to the
thinking.
back
What a
of
woman.
her truck, picks up a pipe, goes over, smashes that window, rushes in, grabs the extinguisher, comes out and sprays everybody down, puts the fire out, they get the kid out, saved.
What an amazing woman. And
What happens?
I love Tequila's presence of mind because
Right.
a lot of people wouldn't be looking around for a fire extinguisher. And then if the door's locked, then you're like, well, try somewhere else. No, but she just busted it and got it out. That
What
was really-
happens next?
She gets the key to the city from the mayor.
Ooh.
The child's
That
mom.
is a good thought.
The child's mom cries uncontrollably and hugs her and says, "Thank you for saving my baby. I
That
owe
probably
you everything."
happened. That probably happened as well. But unfortunately, the state trooper showed up, and he stated, "Unless you're willing to pay for the glass door, I'm going to have to arrest you."
What? It was an emergency.
He was telling me that using a fire extinguisher that doesn't belong to me is theft, and you're not allowed to steal it, no matter how good your intentions.
He's joking, right? He's screwing with her. He's screwing with
No.
her. No, come on. He's messing with her. There's no way.
No, there's finally his supervisor showed up and tucked him back in his little car and told him not to move.
They were going to arrest her for breaking the window and stealing the fire extinguisher
He wanted to pay for it right then and there.
to save a child's life
Right.
in a burning car.
Yeah.
You know, I usually don't carry, let's see, a broken store window. You're talking about that thick thermopane glass.
With a wire in it.
Couple thousand, 2,000?
know.
How much would that be to repair that?
Probably about $800.
I don't carry $800 around with me.
I know.
Like that.
Nor a fire extinguisher.
Apparently, no.
Hence the B&E, the breaking and entering.
Wow.
So there you go. That's what happens next. And
Nope.
obviously, she got out of it, and she didn't have to do that. And the boy was saved, and everybody lived happily ever after.
Except for the trooper, I'm hoping, because that's just...
Now, I know we can't afford a vacation, but if we could, how much would it cost?
Well, it was interesting. They were actually tracking what it would cost for going from here in Utah to some of the top, there's like the top 10 vacation spots in the world.
All right.
And they did it, they had a kind of pretty good methodology. They did plane tickets for 2 adults and 2 children.
Yes.
Hotels were like for a 5-night stay. They chose lowest price. There was certain mileage. So they
Okay,
tried to
okay,
do
okay.
what a family on a budget
Where are we going?
would price. Well, the number one, number one destination that was the most expensive,
Right.
Paris.
You go to Paris.
$8,600 for a family of 4.
There it is, the Louvre.
$8,600.
Louvre.
And then there's Rome, which was
Yeah.
$6,400.
Wait.
$8,600 for Paris.
Wait. $8,600 for 4 people
Mm-hmm.
for 5 nights.
And then
Okay.
London's $5,300.
53. Now we're getting
Now,
reasonable.
Tell me this is not weird. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina was
I've been there.
$3,600.
I've been there. How much?
$3,600.
For 5 days.
Branson, Missouri, this is where you're like, oh, it's all down home. It's all great. They got country music. No. That's expensive as crap. That's $3,400.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Now, here's the one that's going to kill you. The next one is New York City. Remember, once again, that we're talking like $8,400 for Paris, $6,400 for London, right?
Right.
New York City would only be $25.
And there's so much to see.
It's like a third of the price of like Paris. It's like, and plus no one will spit in you. Go, you don't speak French.
They're not all like that.
No, they're not at all. It was just a story that one of my
They're all
brothers
kind of
told
smelly,
us.
though.
No, they're not.
I'm so kidding. Please don't hurt me. We have friends of ours who are French, and they're going to hurt me now.
Yeah, she's going to totally kill you for that.
Kick me right in the fromage.
You would deserve it. Cancun, Mexico, $1,800.
Okay.
Not bad.
All right,
Not bad.
Cancun. I see that.
This one surprises me for affordability. San Francisco, $1,700. That's really good.
That is.
Miami, $1,700 as well. But here was the one that was the lowest, and this shocks me because
Okay, I'm
anything
ready.
Disney related, I'm prepped for.
Oh,
like,
right.
This is going to cost
Yeah.
only $1,600 for a family of 4 for 5 nights, including airfare.
Plus $1,600 for tickets to Disneyland. So that really doubles the cost. Doesn't
No,
it?
I thought
And
it was
that's
interesting.
that's not for 5 days of Disneyland. That's for like 1
Oh,
or maybe
so young and so bitter.
I'm not that young.
But you are so bitter.
So that's okay. Where would you go right now if you could go anywhere on a vacation?
Australia.
You go to Australia.
Sydney, Australia. I'd go to Sydney, Australia.
I'd go there with you.
I know you would.
Can we go to the outback?
It's hot there, and there's a lot of spiders. Wouldn't you want to stay on the coast? There's a lot of spiders. I have friends in Australia.
Where the great whites are, the sharks?
Let's just put it that she's my friends. One of them is very, very proud of the fact that she says we have more venomous things that can kill you here in Australia than all the rest of the world combined.
That's like a T-shirt. They should put that on a
So
T-shirt.
stay on the coast, and all you're worried about are the great whites.
Now, a lot of people when they go on vacations, they take pictures of themselves. Were you going to tell me about that? Selfies, perhaps?
You know, this is an almost Darwin. Like they were this close to Darwin, and I
Is this a story that is tragic, but we're going to laugh?
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Okay, there was a man who was far away doing what he was supposed to.
Of what?
He was snapping pictures of these elephants on a Thailand preserve.
Okay, Thailand.
Beautiful, incredible.
How far away?
Display.
Look, safety.
Like safe far away,
Okay,
because there's
safe far
long-range camera lens now. You can shoot from really far away.
Right.
So he's doing this, and he's admiring nature and being beautiful. And then he noticed these 2 tourists come jogging down the road, and they start going towards the elephant.
What?
And then they take out their cameras, and they're about to do selfies.
Yeah.
And the elephant's like, no, I can't let this one go. So he starts chasing them down
Oh my
down
gosh.
the road. Show the picture.
Oh
This
my
is
gosh.
for real. Look at that. And I'm like, they're so close. They're almost ready to step on them. Almost. You're almost there. But apparently he stopped chasing them, and they stopped for a minute. He started chasing them again. It's like they could not figure it out until he had chased them like a mile away, and then they gave up trying to take the selfie.
Oh my gosh! You mean they stopped and tried to take it
They
again?
tried it again as soon as he stopped. Like he's chased them for a while, like, get out of here. And then when he stopped and sort of turned, they tried again 3 times. That's where I'm like,
So did the elephant.
I'm like rooting for the elephant at this point.
Oh my God.
So another tragic.
All right, so another
Selfie-related accident.
another lesson from the Todd and Erin morning stream is don't take pictures of elephants and get that close.
Selfies. No selfies with elephants.
All right, there you go. Well, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we're going to be back on Monday morning with the Todd and Erin morning stream.
We have all kinds of Halloweeny things coming up because that will be the 1st of October.
We already smell like pumpkin spice. We'll see you Monday.
Excretes from our